Hey, this is Graham and welcome back to another car review. Today we are driving a 2017 BMW 430i M Sport. And I think I'll probably just go ahead and start with all the technical hoopla. So with this car, you get a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that's turbocharged. Obviously, all the German cars these days have turbos slapped on them for emissions. But because this is just a 4-cylinder, I think that turbo is really kind of necessary. And with it, this car pushes out 250 horsepower. And it actually does a really, really fantastic job of putting it down. It feels very punchy. And because I'm sitting at a red light right now, I will go ahead and demonstrate just how punchy it feels. So, like I said, for 250 horsepower and just a 4-cylinder turbo engine, this car actually really, it throws you back in your seat and actually feels really good. And of course, being rear-wheel drive and all, the feeling that the car gives you is just fantastic. I mean, it's a BMW, so of course it's going to be good, but especially when that turbo kicks in, I mean, it really gets up and boogies, and that really felt quicker than I thought it was going to. So it's a pretty quick car. And then the transmission, it's just you press the paddle and it is there. It's ready with that next gear right when you want it. And I mean, these paddles are just so nice and beefy too. I mean, everything, because this is an M Sport car, everything just feels a little bit tighter, a little bit more composed. Not saying that a standard BMW is not, but just like the way that BMW puts these cars together and the detail that they put into the M Sport cars, especially, it's on another level. So with the M Sport package, since we're talking about it, you get quite a few things. And in my opinion, it is a package that if you're even remotely a car enthusiast, it's something that you're going to want on this car. Because you get, I mean, first of all, just looking at it from the outside, you get a nice revised front end that really, really, really looks much more aggressive than the standard bumper, and much nicer in my opinion, not nearly as ugly. And of course on the back you get it's almost a gloss black kind of trim piece along the rear bumper, and of course the rear bumper is a little bit different too, but that nice gloss black trim piece along the bottom of the bumper kind of gives it that sporty look that that really tells you that it's something special. And of course you get nice wheels, which, of course that matters a lot in the look of a car. And these of course are a little bit wider to give you a little bit more footprint, which inevitably gives you better handling and better performance. So that's a win-win all around. Better looks, better performance. But then moving to the interior of the car, you get sport seats, which have much nicer bolstering. They're much more comfortable, in my opinion. Bolstering, I feel like, makes a car more comfortable in general, just because you're not sliding back and forth, holding on for dear life if you have to go around an on-ramp or something. So these seats definitely feel nicer. Of course, it's tan leather interior, which looks it looks very gorgeous in this car, with the white exterior and everything. But then of course, I think of all the pieces on this car, my favorite has to be the steering wheel. This M Sport steering wheel is just unbelievably nice. It's one of my favorite steering wheels in the world. I can't think of one that I like much better than this. The leather is just so smooth and it's padded, so it just feels very, very nice in your hands. And then, of course, the styling of it just looks gorgeous as well. It's very slim, very sleek, and very, very pretty. And, of course, with the performance of the car, the M Sport package adds the selectable drive modes, which, if I'm not mistaken, offers you a little bit of... It's a different throttle response. It sharpens up. It kind of changes the tune of the car, which, like I said, sharpens up the throttle response and makes the car feel a little bit more peppy. And of course, you have different selective modes. You have Sport, Comfort, Eco, and Sport Plus, which turns off the traction control, which I'm not going to do today because I'm not driving like a maniac as much as I would like to. This is not my car. But I'm in sport mode, which, you know, I would be in all the time if I had this car, because it sharpens up the throttle response, sharpens up the transmission, just sharpens everything up, and makes the car feel more responsive to the driver's inputs, which I feel like is necessary if you're going to do any sort of, I mean, even just any remote enthusiastic driving. You definitely want to throw it in sport mode so that you can jump on the paddle shifters or whatnot. And then, of course, if you bump the shifter over to the left while you're driving, that puts it into manual sport mode, which then activates the paddles and makes it go full time so that you can shift through the gears as you please, which I'm doing right now because it just feels so much more fun that way. Give it a little gas. And God, the transmission is just so quick with each gear. It's so nice when you get to drive a car like this because you really appreciate the engineering behind it. Now, the one downside to the BMW, in my opinion, is that as fun as it is to drive, these cars don't have a whole lot of personality, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because sometimes personality comes with, you know, quirks, and you don't necessarily want quirks in a car. You want it to be reliable, and this car is definitely going to be that, and you're likely not going to have many problems with it. But still, like I said, it is a BMW, and I feel like the biggest problem with German cars in general have this issue, and that is that they just don't have, like I said, they don't have the personality that other cars do. They just feel very sterile, which that's because they are. I mean, they're fine-tuned machines, but that's all they are. They're scalpels, and there's no excitement. It's not a chainsaw. It's not gonna, like, you know, tear through everything like, say, a Dodge Hellcat, but it's a very fine-tuned instrument, and it does make driving a pleasure, but I just don't feel like I'd be able to connect with this car. I'm not sure that would happen, which, you know, that's my problem with German cars. I'll leave it at that. And I completely understand why people love these, and I am enjoying driving it. Of course, it's a great car, but it's not my style. That's all I'm going to say about that. We'll get back into some of the technical features of the car, because this car has quite a few of them on it. It's got the nice screen up here with the sat nav and the upgraded Harman Kardon stereo, all the good stuff, all the nice equipment. It doesn't have blind spot monitoring, but as long as you're like an attentive driver, that's not an issue. Shouldn't be an issue. Just pay attention to what you're doing, and you'll be okay. But this satellite navigation is actually really nice. BMW's iDrive systems have really come a long way and are actually very kind of fluid and nice to use these days. And then, of course, it has the Eco mode, which I didn't talk about much, but that is where it shuts off at red lights to save fuel and all that. I tried it before I started the video. it's really kind of slow to respond, and you let off your brake and go to the gas, and it starts up pretty quickly, but it's just like, it's not what you expect a car to do. I guess I'm just not used to it. I guess that's all it is. I guess if you're used to it, then it's maybe not that big a deal, but it's strange, and I don't think that I would drive with it. I don't think it's going to save you that much gas that it's going to be worth using it. I mean, perhaps I'm wrong, perhaps I'm mistaken, but that's just me. But I guess I've really covered it all at this point. I think this is a very lovely car to drive. It's very sporty. I'm blown away with the way that it feels, the amount of power that it has, the way that it turns, the way that it moves. It's a damn good car. Pardon my French, but it's nice. So if you are looking at one of these, I would say to go for it. I would love to own this car, but like I said, it's one downside, and I really mean it. Just the one downside to this car is that it's too sterile. It lacks some personality. But with that, I guess I will bid you adieu. Thank you all so much for watching, as always. I hope that you guys enjoyed this review. If you would like to have your car featured on YouTube, go to the About section on my channel, click that email, shoot me an email, and we will try to arrange something. I am definitely in need of some cars to review. So thank you guys again so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and as always, take it easy.